Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's lab, we're going to answer a question that usually confuses a lot of beginners while learning Linux and AWS. That question is, if I create a new Linux user on an EC2 instance, why can't that user log in using the same SSH key? Because most times we assume that because the key works for one user, it should also work for every user on the same server. But that's not how SSH authentication works. So in this video, we will launch an Ubuntu EC2 instance. We will create a Linux user, a new user called Vivian. We will give her sudo privileges, and then we'll attempt to SSH into her account, and then we'll watch it fail, understand exactly why it fails, and then we configure her account properly so SSH authentication succeeds. So by the end of this lab, you will understand how SSH keys work on Linux. So let's jump right in. So for step one, we are going to, you should have this prerequisite, which is having an EC2 account, an AWS account, sorry, and your local machine should have an SSH client. For us, or for me, I'm using WSL, and you should have basic comforts with the Linux command line. So step one is to create a key pair, and for that, we are going to be using the AWS console. So I'm right here in the AWS console. Let me go and create a key pair. So right now we have no instances. To create a key pair, you come to the EC2 dashboard and you look for key pairs right here. So to create a key pair, you click over here. So this key, I'm going to name it admin key. There's going to be an RSA, which is already selected by default. And I will just go ahead and create the key pair. So right now it's already downloaded into my local machine. Okay, but I will have to give authorize, give the key pair the right permission, because without the correct permission, SSH will refuse to use the private key. So the private key has been sent to me, while Amazon retains the public key. Okay. So now the next step, step two, let's come back over here. So let's actually go ahead and do this before we proceed. So right now we are in this location. We need to get to, because it's downloaded into my downloads folder. I need to copy it from there. I'm actually going to move it from there to my SSH folder. The name of the key, okay. And then I'm sending it to my SSH folder here. So now I need to give it the read, write, and execute. So I'm going to give it the read permission 400. And we look at the permissions that it gives to the key. You see it has read permission for the owner. So that's step one done. Now we move to step two, and step two says launch the EC2 instance. And the name we're going to give it is Vivian Lab instance. So let me just copy that. It's most likely going to be T3 because we're using a free TAWS account. So Ubuntu server T3 So let's go to AWS console and I go to instances and I launch instance. The name of my instance, I already copied it. I paste that Vivian Lab instance. I select Ubuntu. And T3 micro is selected by default. Then I'll select the key pair that we just created. That is the admin key. I use every other thing by default. So I'm going to allow SSH traffic from anywhere. You could also actually specifically tell it to allow only from your IP, but I'm going to leave it SSH from anywhere. And we are all set. So we go ahead and launch. Let's check the steps. So yes, allow for my leave storage as it is and click launch instance. Good. Okay. So let's go back here. I will click launch instance. And then we copy the public key, the public address rather, public IPv4 address. So that's what we're going to use to SSH into the server that we just created. So our server is done creating, is already running. So we get the public key. Yeah. So this is the public address. Sorry, I keep saying public. Is the public address, and this is what we need to SSH into the server that we just created. So we copy this, and we'll come back here. And now we need to log in using the private key. So the private key is on our system. Remember the one that we just downloaded and gave the right permission. So to do that, SSH-I, and then we get the key from wherever, whichever location that you sent it. I usually keep mine in this location, Ubuntu, then the public IP I copied, our VM, our EC2. Say yes. And voila, we are inside the EC2 instance. Okay, so let's run the sudo apt update. This is just like the default I usually run on every server I spin up because it updates the VM, and then you can also upgrade it for some packages that needs to be upgraded. So right now I'm telling us there are 5 packages that can be upgraded. So you could actually go ahead and also do that, but because you are going to tear down the VM, once you are done, we are going to leave it that way. So now we are going to create the user vivian, and to do that, you just use the command sudo add user vivian. So we're going to give vivian a password. So while typing the password, it's not going to show on the screen because remember it's a secret. So it's not supposed to show. So just click enter until it takes our user. So right now we're creating the user vivian. Now let's add vivian to the sudo group. That's the super user group. Remember that's in our previous sessions. Okay, so the sudo, to do that, you use sudo user mod as user modification, add append. So this is dash append, and then group, and then the name of the group is sudo group, and then the user is Vivian, right? Without the dash A, if you only use G, it's going to put Vivian inside the sudo group, but then it's going to remove all the other groups in which Vivian belongs. Okay, let's actually let me show us. So if we do groups Vivian, you see Vivian right now belongs to the Vivian group and the users group. right? If we were to run this command without the dash A, it's going to wipe Vivian away from these two groups and only put Vivian in sudo. So that's why you have to use the dash A. Append. We are adding it, adding this extra group to this particular user. Okay, so now if we run groups Vivian again, you see that now Vivian belongs to three groups: Vivian, sudo, and users. Okay, so now let's log out, and then we log in using Vivian. Because right now, if we do who am I, we see that we are Ubuntu. So see, this is who we are, Ubuntu. We're logging in as an Ubuntu user, right? So let's face it and try and log in as Vivian. So to log in as Vivian, we are going to SSH here. So log back in or log in as Vivian right here using this command -I, trying to make sure that the scripts, which I'll be sharing in the comment section, and it will be loaded in my Git repo, which you can clone and also practice to make sure that the script, we are following the script. Okay, so SSH-I, and our key is in this location, mean then Vivian at 2320. Okay, so it says permission denied. So now it's failing because Vivian doesn't have the key, doesn't have created Vivian as a user on this VM, but the key is not, there's no .ssh authorized key file that was given to Vivian. Vivian doesn't even have like a home folder. So now that's why Vivian is not on it, even though Vivian is a user on this VM, yet she cannot log in into the VM. Okay, so now let's log back in as the was Ubuntu and the admin user, which is Ubuntu. So we log back in. Ubuntu. Then we're back in as Ubuntu. So now we need to copy the key to Vivian's account. We are back inside the VM. So we need to copy the key to Vivian's account. To do that, we're going to create a home directory for Vivian, and then we create this .ssh folder, and then we copy the authorized key from Ubuntu into Vivian. That's what this command is going to do. And then we give Vivian ownership of this folder, and then we give her the permissions required on this folder and then on this file. That's what this command is going to do. So the first one is we are creating the directory, the home directory for Vivian, and the .ssh folder in our home directory. So right here, -p means parent folder. So you use -p flag when you want to create multiple folders and nested inside each other. So we do that. And then now we are going to copy, because if we run ls, let's see. Okay, so we see permission denied. So let's copy this command and copy the authorized keys from Ubuntu admin user to Vivian. Now, let's give Vivian ownership of this file, of this folder. So you see that we have given this command to give permission. We have given it to Vivian, to this folder, this particular .ash folder. Now, let's also give Vivian the right permission on this folder. And we also give her the right permission on this file, the authorized key file that we just copied to her. All right. So now we're going to log out and log back in as Vivian. But remember, right now, Ubuntu. So log out. And let's try again. There you go. Now we are Vivian. Now we are logging out. To do who am I? See who we are. Okay. We can do ls home and the authorized key that we copy into Vivian. So our key is right there. So we can actually cut home and it is allowing Vivian to now access this particular server. Okay, so that is that for scenario one. We actually have another scenario which is going to come up very soon. So try and practice this. I'll be putting in the comment section below the link to the repo where you can clone and actually practice. Or you can also follow this video and do the same. So, and because watching is one thing, but actually doing it is another thing altogether. So thank you for watching and of course, stay lagging. Thank you.